What's going on, folks? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, look, so I finally caught up. It's been a while. I feel like I've been kind of slacking off on this show. But today was a good day to watch it. So I finally caught up with the latest episode of the Traitors, and I wanted to, chop it up with you and let you know what I thought, how I felt about it. First off, this episode is brought to you by bluespace.com, a place to talk with friends and people just like yourself. And also brokenheartshirts.com. That's my clothing company where you can buy cool little hoodies like this. But let's jump right in, folks. So this episode starts off with a really cool twist where the contestants are able to put three other players, for all intents and purposes, on death row, where they could potentially be eliminated from the show later on. And if I'm not mistaken, they selected Rachel, and these names are a little interesting. All right, Angelica. I didn't know her name was Angelica, by the way. I thought her name was Brandy. But they selected Rachel, Angelica, and Kate. And the question remains: did the Traitors miss a golden opportunity? So I have to ask this question. I thought that in this situation, it would have been smart to select a traitor, and it made me wonder, why did they not put Cody up for elimination? I understand putting Angelica up, Kate, and also Rachel. I understood that, but I thought that was a elementary decision. Why would you not? This is a golden opportunity, right? What's his name? The host, I forget his name. I gotta learn this guy's name because yeah, Alan, right? Alan coming. He comes into the room with the traders and he's telling them, "Hey, I'm going to give you the opportunity to put three players up for elimination." And for the most part, they're blown away. Like, oh wow, we're happy to see Allen. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are missing a golden opportunity. If they would have put Cody up, that would have removed a lot of the suspicion around Cody. I felt like they completely forgot that, just never even considered it. And the next morning comes about and all the players pretty much come out, and as you know, Stephanie is hot on Cody's trails. Stephanie is a player that I'm not sure why they haven't murdered her yet. She has been gunning for Cody, and for whatever reason they haven't given her much attention in terms of saying that she's a possible issue. I think Stephanie is in a I should say a golden position, because no one seems to be focusing on her, and she's doing the most talking. I think this show bodes well for players who can be silent. And she's not silent. She's constantly bringing Cody's name up. However, she's not being targeted. So I have to argue she's in a golden position. But the next morning comes about, and everyone is expecting that Cody is the problem, or the traitor. And the show allows Cody to come out the door last. All right. And when he comes out, he does a terrible job. He's not acting very well, in my personal opinion. I thought that he could have acted a little bit more surprised. Like, hey, he didn't really do a good job with selling the fact that he was surprised. And this caused a couple players to get hot on his trail. Those two players, again, Stephanie, and another one is Rachel. Those two players are incredibly dangerous for the game that Cody is playing. However, if let me say this part first. So after Cody comes out, finally Allen comes out and he puts out there on the radar that, hey, these are three players who will be up for elimination. And again, he names the three players, obviously. And I felt like, why put Angelica up? I mean, their rationale for this was she's emotional and she cries a lot. And I'm like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, uh, realistically, her crying a lot, what does that really do? And I thought that they made a big mistake on that. I totally agree with the Rachel decision. I thought that putting Kate up was a bad decision. Why put Kate? And I want to make sure her name was Kate. All right, because if I'm wrong about this, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. All right, so let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, that is her. Like, why put Kate up? I just thought that was a bad decision. Everyone is already expecting Kate. By putting her up for elimination, I think that it made other contestants say, wait, is Kate really a traitor? Like who in their right mind would put themselves up? Um, Now they did ask Alan for clarification, like, hey, well, I think it was Angelica who said it. She said, well, now that I'm up, there's no way I can be a traitor. And then Alan corrected her and said, hey, Traders can also eliminate or elect themselves for this process. And that made everybody say, "Oh, okay, all right, all right." But I didn't understand the Angelica move. I felt like that was a wasted slot. And also, I thought putting Kate up was a bad decision on the account that Kate was like one of the most targeted players in the game. So by putting her in this position, I felt like that was two wasted slots. Look, if I was a part of the traders, I would have used a lot more strategy. Of course, I would have put up Rachel. I would have put up Quentin. Quentin is a player that is extremely vocal. You get rid of him, you get rid of a voice box. I felt like not targeting him was probably a mistake. If not Quentin, I would have put this guy up. In fact, this guy would not be able to be put up if I was a trader because I would have evicted him or eliminated him in the first 2 weeks. This guy just screams winner. He's a winner. He just looks like a winner. I would have got rid of this guy. All right. I think his name is Aries, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but I do want to point this person out. Okay. Where is their photo on my phone? Uh, Not Stephanie, even though I would have definitely considered putting Stephanie up. The player I'm looking for, I don't see him at the moment. Oh, yeah, here he is. This guy, Cody. Why not put Cody on the block? He was the perfect player to put up because in putting Cody up, it would have made everyone second guess. Like, wait, is Cody really? Why would they put Cody up? Or why would Cody put himself up? It would have validated all the nervous gameplay that he's shown. And I think this is my personal opinion. I feel like they missed a golden opportunity. And the question is, do you agree? Do you think that they played it smart by not putting Cody on the chopping block? I thought that definitely they should have. All right, but in that same situation, I'm putting up Rachel, Cody, Quentin. That's what I'm doing. Now, this episode was pretty cool. I did like the challenge this time. I am a I am very vocal about my dislike of the challenges on this game because they don't really make sense. Uh, sometimes they'll split the group up into two different groups, and it's like it doesn't really matter because if Group A wins money for the group or for the entire population, it goes into the pot. And the same can happen for the other group, despite the fact that they're competing against each other. So I just think that's a silly premise. I think they should fix that. It just makes the challenges look kind of silly. But the exception to that particular complaint is that today's, or rather not today's, but this episode's competition was a group competition. And depending on how the group did, that impacted the funds. So I like that, keeping them all as one group rather than splitting them in half and making them compete against each other for no reason. It's kind of silly. I like the fact that they were able to compete as one group, and the penalties or things that they did not do would impact them all. And I have to point out something that confused me this episode, and that was the behavior of Kate. Now, Kate was like sabotaging the entire competition. She was taking money and throwing it out. I had no idea why she was doing this. I think that she was trying to go home, but that didn't quite make sense towards the end of this episode because she didn't volunteer herself to go home. In fact, at the round table for eviction or to select someone to be banished, she pointed her finger at Rachel. And that was confusing for me. I'm like, if you want to go home, why point the finger at Rachel? But nevertheless, this competition also had these really cool shields where if you got all three of the barrels across the finish line, it was like a special three barrels. If you got them across the finish line, then you would get, or the three players would have the opportunity to be safe. I like that particular twist. So the group did bank $15,000, unless I'm mistaken, and they got all three armory pass barrels across the line, which means that three players had the opportunity to be safe. And the players that were selected, if I remember correctly, okay, it's been a while, but it was Rachel, Angelica, and Aries. Those were the three players. And guess who wins that safety? It is Aries. That was very surprising. But again, I'm telling you, this guy would not be on the same show as me if I'm playing this game. He's gone a long, long time ago. He has a winner's aura, and you can just sense it. But I'll tell you another player that's playing really, really, really well in my personal opinion. All right, Shelby. Shelby is getting no looks. No one's talking about her. No one's targeting her, and I have to say she's doing a great job. One of my least favorite players, and I've been very vocal about it, is Quentin. He talks too much, and I'm so surprised that the cast is not seeing him as a potential traitor. But it may be because he talks so much. They're just like, there's no way he's a traitor. He's too open. He's too honest. But he seems to be very, very entitled in terms of his opinions. And to this point, all the opinions that he's verbalized have been absolutely wrong. Every one of them, even the ones he made this episode. I want to say he said some things about Kate possibly being a traitor, and as we know, as the viewer, Kate is not the traitor. So, just another example as to why I don't really like the guy too much. I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason I don't like Quentin is it's not his takes. He has terrible takes on the game, but it's really the hair. It's the hair. It's the afro. I'm not sure if it's like a real afro or a fake one, but it just drives me insane every time I see it. And I'm not kidding. It drives me insane. When every time I see Quentin's afro, it literally drives me insane. Not kidding. But something else that drove me insane was the gameplay of this guy, Christian. Terrible, terrible, terrible gameplay. He makes a weird decision to throw Cody's name in the fray. And I thought that was the most silliest idea that this guy could have come up with because yes, Cody is a point of emphasis amongst certain players, namely Rachel. But why add fire to the fuel when you don't have to? So Christian began the process of proposing that Cody is potentially a traitor. And I know what he's doing. He's playing a double agent. He's a traitor, but he's trying to throw the scent off of his trail. So therefore, he's doing what most other uh faithfuls are doing, which is blaming other people. And in this case, he chose to blame Cody. Was that a good move to you? Because I'll be honest with you, it was not a good move in my personal opinion. There's so many other players he could have pointed the finger at. Why choose your own? Why would you do that? Maybe on a ultra competitive level, it was the right move because the more players that survive, the more traders rather, the less money you get. So I get it. You have to cannibalize your own if you want to make more money in the end. But I just could not understand why that player was making that decision. Even more surprising, Sari, who I'm hearing won the season. I'm not deaf to the fact that a lot of people are telling me, or I'm hearing from different circles, that Sari won this season. And despite that may being true, and I haven't confirmed it because I'm not looking, I'm not trying to find it. Despite that possibly being true, I'm still going to continue to do these because I'm just enjoying the episode by episode shenanigans, right? But anyway, I just didn't understand it, and then Sari decides to, and this is the thing. This is what they did this episode. They did a cliffhanger. You know, they stopped just short of Sari explaining who she thought the traitor was. Now, this episode had a lot of drama between Kate and Rachel. They were bickering back and forth, had a lot of problems with one another. And at the table, they're slinging mud at each other. And then you had the supporting players, the other players, saying, hey, I don't really think that Rachel is the traitor, or some others saying, I don't think that Kate is the traitor. And then you have certain players like Cerise say, I don't think the traitors are either Rachel or Kate. And I have to know what you think about that if you've seen this episode. Is Cerise overplaying her hand? Right? Because she says, and I quote, I don't believe that Kate or Rachel are the traitors. And then Cody, which was a silly decision in my opinion, Cody, if all the players says, well, who do you think it is? If I'm sitting in that particular meeting, or whatever you would call it, deliberation. First off, Cerise saying, I don't think that Kate or Rachel are the traitors would have made me feel at ease. I would like, okay, Cerise one of us. That's something I would have said if I had enough courage. But when Cody says, well, who do you think it is? He does a terrible job at the way he verbalizes that question. And I'm looking at subconscious clues. I'm looking at, nonverbal cues. And for me, that would have been something that would have set off alarms. Like, wait, why did he ask that? Or why does he look so uncomfortable as he asked that question? But yeah, so the episode stops just short of Sari explaining who she think the traitors are, and it's like, hey, I think she's gonna say Cody's name. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with this move. Now, obviously, if Sari ends up winning the season, then I'm obviously wrong. But I'll still say that for at least Christian's game, this was a bad play, and I believe it was his idea first, and he pitched it to Sari. And can we talk about the conversation that Christian and Sari had outside of the house, where Christian pitches this idea of possibly throwing Cody under the bus? Why did they have that meeting outside of the front door of the house where all the other players were situated? I just thought that was a terrible idea. And you could argue they were away from the group, but at the same time, like Sari and Christian don't necessarily talk game amongst other players in the house. So seeing them together just once could have been a complete throw off, right? But anyway, that is most of what I gathered from this episode. I am predicting that Sari will tell the other contestants that she believes that Cody is the traitor. And I can only imagine that that's going to make Cody very, very upset. And something tells me, and I haven't confirmed this, but something tells me that Cody is in a heap of trouble. All right. But anyway, that is my take and my reaction to this episode. I hope it was enjoyable. If so, like and subscribe. Just like and subscribe. All right, but I will be checking out episode 7 pretty soon, and once I do, I'll post another reaction. But y'all be safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.